Yes, colleagues, my name is Tony Majila, and I am a research training officer in the College of Graduate Studies, specifically the Department of Research Support in the School of Interdisciplinary Research and Graduate Studies. And I'm also one of who is certified Atlas TI student trainer in the university. So this is the menu for today. We will define and give the purpose of qualitative data analysis. We will compare the qualitative to the quantitative analysis, the manual versus computer assisted analysis, and touch on the fundamentals of qualitative data analysis, the types of qualitative data analysis, and importantly, the do's and don'ts of qualitative data analysis. And I'll also highlight the common mistakes that the students are making while they are analyzing and provide ways on how to avoid them. And before we close, we will talk about how to get Atlas TI software, the process that you can follow to ensure that you have the software. And yes, I'll try to push this as fast as I can so that we have more time for Q&A in case you have some questions. So what is the rationale behind these working sessions? So the university wants to equip you as the postgraduate students with analysis skills. So you may be having a co-coder, but you should know the process and what they are doing. I know some of the students are outsourcing the services, but it is important to know how they are analyzing your data. But then with these working sessions and the workshops that will be coming, I believe you will be confident in analyzing your own data. And for the PhDs, we know that there is oral exam in place. So it is very important that you know each and every aspect of your study. Hence, we are doing this section to make sure that you are ready and you can defend your work. And also for the PhD, you know that as part of the examination process, there is an expectation that you have 2 manuscripts. And I believe from your presentation of data, there may be some articles. So it is very important to know how to analyze your own data. So this is the program that we have developed. So these are the working sessions, and you can see they are about 45 minutes. We will also have full workshops, theory and practical, but mostly practical on Atlas TI. And today we are starting with this working session so that you, as the postgraduate student, can be yes, so that you can engage with your studies continuously. So that is the rationale behind these working sessions. And you will see we are starting with the theory part, the introduction. On the registration list, I noticed that we have honors, we have masters, we have PhD, and also for MND, though there are some who are on the proposal and others on dissertation and thesis phase. So, and you would see that this is on the basic level, but I believe we will be able to cover all aspects and accommodate all students on all levels. The coming workshops, they will be more practical, where we will be introducing you to Atlas and touching all these things, including coding and the AI tools in coding up until you can develop the themes and visuals to use in presenting your data. So it is simple. You just need to click on that link and register, and you will have the link in your email address. So now, what is qualitative research? So it is a type of research methodology focusing on understanding the human behavior, experience, and perspective in their natural settings. And it is aimed to explore, to describe the social phenomenon, the cultural practice, and individual experiences in depth and holistically. And the purpose is to gain insight into how people make sense in their world, how they interpret their experiences, and how they construct their realities. And these are some of the key characteristics of qualitative data. So we know that qualitative data, it is rich and detailed. Hence, it provides in-depth contextual information about the research topic, allowing for deeper understanding. We know that it is text-based, and I have highlighted often. So it is often in the form of text, such as interview transcripts, field notes, open-ended survey responses, documents, narrative, reports, and so forth. So it is not always, it is often. So sometimes we have the data that is in a form of a video, those who are doing visual studies or audio, but also the drawings. You can analyze those, especially in Atlas TI, but often we deal with interview transcripts and secondary data, which may be documents or report. Another key characteristics, we know that it is non-numerical. And I've also highlighted that. So unlike quantitative data, qualitative data is not primarily concerned with numbers or stats analysis, but focuses on words, description, and meanings. So even when we have numbers that you are analyzing, but you will present them in a manner where you are describing them, and we can have a meaning behind those numbers. So we can also see another characteristics that whenever we collect data, we collect it in the natural settings, so not in the labs. We collect it through observation, interview, focus groups, and so on. And most often, qualitative data employs inductive approach. So we see when students are proposing or in the methodology chapters, they will talk about inductive or deductive. So in qualitative data, often we employ inductive approach. So inductive is when you are focusing on the data that you are collecting. So if you are using thematic analysis, all the codes, the code groups and the themes will emerge from the data that you are analyzing. So with deductive, you will use then the concepts from your literature review, your theory, and so on. And I have seen with, especially the MBA, sometimes the instruction will be present your findings using your research questions. So obviously, it will make sense for them to follow the deductive approach. So hence, I am indicating that it is often, but not always. Interpretive, yes, it involves the researcher's interpretation of the data, taking into account the context and the participant perspectives, as well as the researcher's own background and biases. Will get into that. And you can see also the last one, the sample size. So in qualitative studies, we usually work with small numbers. Those who are interviewing, normally you will see the sample size being 6 to 12 to 15. But in quantitative studies, the sample can be many participants, because we have to generalize. Now, the examples of qualitative data, those are interview transcripts. So after you have interviewed your participants, you will convert the audio into text, and those are transcripts. You will also have field notes. So while you are observing, while you are interviewing, you may make some notes. Those are another examples of data. And for those who are doing surveys question, there may be open-ended responses and it is a type of qualitative data. Personal narratives or diaries. I've also talked about audio and video recordings. And I know some of you who are doing focus group discussions, you use video recordings for that. So it is a type of qualitative data. Now going into the fundamentals. This is the process of analyzing data. So it involves moving back and forth between data collection, coding, and interpretation. So after you have collected your data through interviews, maybe, you will then start coding, start interpreting, but then you'll also go again to literature review, to your theoretical framework to discuss and analyze. So it is a process that involves moving back and forth. And data collection, we talk about it, that usually it involves the interviews, observation, documents, and so forth, which you will highlight in your methodology chapter or the methodology section if you are proposing. Data organization is very important for data analysis. So preparation of data is very important. So you need to prepare, and I believe pilot studies, pre-testing will help you with that. And all data organizations also speaks to the trustworthiness of data. So unlike quantitative, where we have reliability and validity, in qualitative, then you have to address how your data is you have to address the trustworthiness of data with those 4 pillars. Yes. So data federalization, I was talking about it, that some of you may outsource, but then if you are analyzing data for yourself, you will be familiar with it, and it will make sense when you are presenting your findings through the themes and the codes. So coding, again, we will have a dedicated session on it, but then it is an important function in analyzing. So this is where you are assigning labels to segments of data that capture the key concepts, ideas, and themes. And in Atlas TI, if you are done with coding, you are almost 70% done analyzing in Atlas TI. So it is a very important component, and we will spend a lot of time on it in the next coming sessions. So if the codes are generated, it will be much easier for you to develop the themes that will emerge from these codes. So the themes identify broader patterns and categories that emerge from the coded data. Then interpretation is when you are making sense of the themes and patterns in the data. So after you have analyzed in the data, you still have to write up and interpret what you have coded in theme. So the role of coding and theme development, they are essential, as I've indicated, that if you are done with coding in Atlas TI, you will be like 70% done. So I've talked about coding, that it involves assigning labels to segments. These are quotations from your transcripts. And this process helps you as a researcher to organize and make sense of the data that you have collected and identify patterns or relationship across different data sources. Those are your participants. And as codes are developed and refined, researchers can begin to identify broader themes or categories. So as and when you are coding, you will already see how the codes, the themes will emerge from these codes that are developing. Another thing that I want to address and remind you is the importance of researchers' reflexivity. So this is very crucial, and it involves self-awareness and critical reflection on you as a researcher, your own background, your assumption and biases, because we are coming from different backgrounds, we are coming with different assumptions and biases. And it is important that you acknowledge those before you collect data, because they can influence how you collect, analyze, and interpret data. And I have seen some students where they are collecting data, especially in a topic where it involves the workplace. So when they are going to collect data, they forget to wear a researcher's cap and continue to be a colleague. So you would also hear on the recordings how they forgot that they are researchers and continue talking about the meetings, other things related to work stuff. So you need to be always aware of your values, your perspective, and experiences. You also have some students who will choose a topic, maybe for argument's sake, abortion, and it is against their values and so on, and it will influence how they collect and analyze data. So you need to be aware of it, and I think you can read on bracketing. It is a process whereby you can minimize these things that we are talking about. But then all of this involves acknowledging one's personality and how it may impact on the research process. It involves being transparent about your role as a researcher and the relationship you have with participants. Because if you harm participants, it will also influence how they will respond and to other researchers. So you need to critically examine your own assumptions, your own biases, and how they may shape the interpretation of data that you are coding. So it involves engaging in an ongoing self-reflection and dialogue with your supervisors. So yes, your supervisors are very important, and they are your soundboards, they are your mirrors. These are the people that can help you to reflect on these challenges. And if you have mentors, they can also assist you with it. So it also involves documenting reflections and decision made throughout the research process, so that transparency and trustworthiness can be realized. Now, a quick comparison between qualitative. So your role as a researcher, we have talked about it, the biases and the interpretation. We have talked about the type of data. I won't go into that. The research approach, wherein qualitative is often associated with inductive. We have talked about that. The sampling, also the sampling size, the sampling frame, it is different to quantitative, where in quantitative is probability, and these are the techniques to ensure that you select a sample that is representative of the population, whereas in qualitative usually is purposive and convenience. And data connection methods, tools, you'll see in quantity, we have surveys, experiments, secondary data. Also in qualitative, we do have secondary data. It's how you present your data, but usually it's interview, focus groups, observation, document analysis, and so forth. As well as data analysis techniques, they are different, where in quantity we have descriptives, inferential. In quali, we can analyze thematically, or using discourse analysis or grounded theory to identify the patterns. Now, analyzing manual versus using qualitative data analysis software. So there are people who are analyzing manual, and there are those who continue to do so, and it does work for them because they believe that they get immersed into the data, especially when they are working with smaller data sets. But we are saying try Atlas because manual can be time consuming, and there may be challenges, especially when you have larger data sets and complex coding schemes. This is when you have different sample frames. So with the qualitative data analysis, you can organize and manage your large data set, and it is easy to retrieve. If you're working with a supervisor or a co-coder, you can work together on this project. And there are automated functions which can help you to code correctly and assist you with searching your data. So that is why we are introducing Atlas TI to you to use, and give it a chance, and you will decide. But most importantly, I must emphasize that Atlas TI is just a tool. It's just a tool to support you to analyze, but it's not a replacement for you as a researcher. It doesn't replace your analytical thinking and interpretation. So as researchers using Atlas TI, you need to engage deeply with the data. You need to make decisions about coding and themes. So it is not analyzing for you. You still have to work, and you still need to read more books, articles on data analysis so that you can apply. So yes, ultimately the choice between using manual and the computer software depends on the size and the complexity of your data set. But as UNISA, we are saying start using Atlas. Yes, because I believe it will assist you with managing and organizing your data. Here, I will just pass quickly, but I was saying that these are types of qualitative data analysis, and these are the process that provides a general framework for analyzing your data. So we have thematic analysis. So when you are proposing that you are using thematic, know what thematic is and know the steps that you need to take when you are analyzing thematically. So each and every approach have their own steps on how to analyze. And yeah, we will share the slides with you. You can go through them. So these are some of the steps that you need to follow for thematic. These are the steps for content analysis, narrative, discourse analysis, grounded theory, phenomenological analysis. We know we have descriptive and interpretive IPA. So these are the steps that you need to follow. Ethnography, case study, yes, and so forth. So let me touch on the do's and don'ts. So most of the students, they rush this process, and it takes time for you to immerse yourself. I mean, you have collected data, you have transcribed it, and it takes time to code and look for meanings and patterns from the analyzed data. So don't rush the process, don't impose your preconceptions or bias into the data. So what I'm saying is don't contaminate the data. Let the themes emerge from the data itself. Some students, while they are analyzing, they will be worried that no, what I'm seeing now is not going to respond to my research questions, and they will try to tweak the data there and there. But then the supervisor and the examiners will obviously see that. So don't do that. So don't also ignore or dismiss data that doesn't fit. That is what I'm talking about. Don't over state or generalize your findings. So when using Atlas TI, don't rely on the software completely to analyze for you. Use it as a tool to support you and enhance your own analytical thinking and interpretation. And don't neglect to document your analysis process and decision. It is very important, and you will use it to show how you have applied trustworthiness of data. And don't forget to consider the context and the limitations of your data and analysis when interpreting and present your own findings. And these are the things that you really need to do to familiarize yourself with the data by reading it through multiple times. So after you have collected your data, maybe interviews, you need to transcribe. And after you have done transcribe, read and read and read those transcriptions. So you need to develop a clear and consistent coding scheme. So here I'm talking about data analysis plan. Most of the students, after they have done interviews, then that's where the problems start. They don't know what to do next. So you need to have data analysis plan, and it will guide you on what to do after you have collected the data through the interviews. You will then have to transcribe. After you have transcribed, you will then have to code, and you will explain how the steps that you need to take on coding, on developing the themes, on presenting, and so forth. So data analysis plan, it is very important. So you need to use memos, notes to record your thoughts and insights. And when we are going into Atlas TI, we will demonstrate where you can include those notes so that they are aligned to each and particular transcript. So you need to engage in constant comparative analysis to refine and develop your codes and themes. Always seek feedback and validation from supervisors and participants. So even after you have transcribed, send it back to your participants to ensure that everything that we have captured is a true reflection of the interview that has taken place. So when using Atlas TI, take advantage of the features that are there that will assist you to code, to memo, to network, so that you have good visuals. And maintain a detailed audit trail of your analysis process. This also talks to application of trustworthiness of data. So be open to revise and refining your analysis as the new insights emerge, and as and when you get feedback from your supervisor, from your participants through member checking. I have talked about data analysis plan and how important it is, and I am also emphasizing it again that it is important because it should be a detailed blueprint or roadmap that will outline the steps, the methods, the procedures that will be used to analyze the data collected in a research study. So this is a very critical component of the research process that helps to ensure that everything is done systematically, rigorous, and transparent, so that you can be able to respond and answer the research questions and realize your study objectives. Now, this is data analysis plan. Again, you can go through it. You can go through it. Here I was saying, when you are also analyzing focus groups, there is a way that you need to analyze, and these are some of the notes, and you can also engage your supervisors further, because some students will do focus group, but then they will do semi-structured interviews and focus group, but then the way they are analyzing focus group, you would ask why, or was there really a need to do focus group? So there is a way to analyze data from the focus group. It's not the same as analyzing interviews. So the common mistakes, so when analyzing qualitative data, Some of the students make this mistake, and here are the common ones. So those who are analyzing manually, sometimes the coding is inconsistent. So a person will collect data, yes, they will transcribe, but then they will just develop the codes without any system in place. And the supervisors, the examiners, the readers, we will see this inconsistent coding. So what I was highlighting earlier on coding for thematic, discourse, and so forth, you need to follow those steps. And we will see it when you are not following those steps. Hence, I was saying, don't rush the process. Invest a lot of time into analyzing, into coding. And overlooking context, students may focus too narrowly on individual codes or expect without considering the broader context in which they occur, leading to misinterpretation or superficial analysis. Failing to identify patterns, also students may struggle to identify themes or patterns. And yes, I believe it might be difficult. Hence, I was saying students usually collect data, transcribe, but then after that, yes, the problem starts. So we will help you if you are having some challenges to code and identify these patterns as and when they emerge. So other common mistakes that they are forcing data into preconceived categories. They impose their own preconception and biases. So I've talked about it and requested you to read a bit more on bracketing so that you can minimize this bias, because it always comes out, and supervisors, examiners can always see it. Lack of organization. Yes, when you are doing manually, most often, especially as an M&D students, but then those with experience, they know how to organize, but it may be difficult for you to organize and keep track of the codes and the themes, which will obviously lead to disorganized or fragmented analysis. Again, those who are using software, they commit some mistakes like over relying on the software. So they will upload the transcripts and think that the software will analyze everything for them. Yes, to an extent it can, and with the new AI features, it can analyze for you. But then remember, you have to immerse yourself into this data, and we will see it when you will have to present, because everything will be coming from the system without you telling the system what to do. So with AI, yes, it is a good feature, but then you must use it responsibly. And yes, you need to be involved in each and every step. So others focus on quantity over quality. You will see students coding and needing 600 codes. So, but then if you go to 250 to 300 codes, it's still okay. So the focus should be on quality and not quantity, because you can generate a lot of themes, but then those themes will be similar or the same. So yeah, quality is always the key. Neglecting data preparation. I talk about how students rush to import the transcript into the software, sometimes without editing, sometimes with spelling mistakes. And it is important to take care of those things before you upload them, because you will use those segments, the quotations, to back up your discussion. So you really need to take time to prepare. And failing to exploit software features. So there are a lot of features in Atlas TI, and students usually underutilize those, including the notes that I was talking about. You might have field notes, and there is a space where you can incorporate them and also develop the images, the visuals. Yeah, so you need to understand the software and use it entirely, losing sight of the research question. So students become sometimes absorbed into the technical aspect of using the software and losing the sight of responding to the research questions and goals. So they get excited to the point where they code and code and code, forgetting the big goal. So how can you avoid these mistakes? And I am going to wrap up a bit in case there are some some questions that are coming up. So you need to develop a clear and consistent coding scheme, which will be in your data analysis plan. You need to attend to the context and complexity of the data using memos, annotations. You need to employ strategies to identify patterns and themes. So even when you are doing it manually, you cannot just look at the transcripts and just identify patterns and themes without having any strategy. So you need also to remain open and flexible for everything that will be coming from your data. So keep the research questions and goal at the forefront of analysis. They will assist you, they will guide the process of coding and interpreting, and engage in an ongoing training and practice. So hence we are having a lot of these working sessions and softwares. This will really help you to explore all the features of this software. So regular review and reflection on the analysis process, seeking feedback from your peers, mentors, supervisors. This is what you can do, and it can help you to improve and refine your analysis and ultimately avoid these mistakes. So in conclusion, I am saying, okay, we are going to give you this recording and the slide. So for those who want Atlas TI, the university purchased a license and it is free of charge. ICT is responsible for it, but then as the College of Graduate Studies, we are also assisting ICT because there was a lot of backlog, and through our intervention, our students are getting this software in time. So if you need the software, please fill out this form. Fill it as honest as you can, and you will receive a positive response, which will lead to installation of the software. I know that there are staff members who are also students, so I would advise staff members to go directly to ICT, because if you are using a UNISA laptop, there will be a stage where it needs the administrator to assist you, and those are ICT people. But then for other students, they are using their own laptops. They are not restricted to that. You can register for the next session. I've shared on slide 4 all the topics, the level, and the links. And I'll also send the evaluation form, because this is our first session. This is our first for this year, for semester. So we also seek feedback so that we can give you what you want, not what we think you want. And in order to access the recording and the presentation slide, we will send them to you. We will also edit them and add them on the college YouTube channel. Feel free to contact us via email. And what I will do, because last year we had 3 workshops done by Dr. Ngwena from the College of Education. So when I will be sending you emails, I will then include the links from the 3 workshops that he did. Yes, and also this year we will have some other workshops on Atlas TI, and you will be notified. So this is all from my side.